Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renegade Operative here, and despite the contrary that I wasn't going to make gaming videos or gaming news in particular about games I don't have a high interest in, I think it would be entertaining to give a decent analysis on Watch Dogs 2. Talk about my reaction to a few certain things in detail and my overall experience with the series and the things they're looking to fix with the sequel. The first thing I'd like to talk about is my experience with Watch Dogs 1. It was extremely mediocre without the hacking mechanic. The gameplay was functional at its core, but it offered up an entire host of problems that overshadowed it majorly. I did like some of the digital trips, which was one of the things that should come back in the second game. The melee was just a piss-easy affair of being close to the enemy and one-shotting them with the baton. The driving was abysmal, almost relatively worse than GTA 4 to the point where the vehicles control like ice cubes in a frying pan. While I haven't beaten Watch Dogs 1, I think the story will probably still go nowhere even if I kept progressing, because Aiden Pierce was as interesting as sandpaper on a flaming tarmac. The graphics was the biggest lie, suffering from a significant downgrade which almost felt like a hidden cover-up until Ubisoft eventually came clean about the performance when it was time for launch. I'll go back. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll give it the benefit of a completion with a playthrough, but as you can see, there was a host of problems with the first outing. A very thin layer of potential, but very thin. Watch Dogs 1 was the ultimate reason why you don't get overhyped for video games, because they have the liberty of either exceeding expectations or being lowered to the point of buyer's remorse. Now, about a few years later, we have Watch Dogs 2. This time in Watch Dogs 2, we take the fight to the Bloom Corporation in the vibrant city of San Francisco. Marcus Holloway, who was eventually wrongly accused by the CTOS 2.0, eventually joins DedSec in a resistance against the Bloom City of Control. The story seems to be your run-of-the-mill setup that probably will have people wondering how the first game's events leaves an impact on the second in greater detail. Ubisoft's stronger storytelling does seem like a past tense scenario compared to the present, so I'll have to see a bit more of Marcus's personality before I write a verdict. Though, I'm interested to see where they go with a man of color. I pray that he's interesting enough to be better than Aiden Pierce, which was one of the things they're gunning for with this new hero, as a quote-unquote charming and funny guy. San Francisco and California in general is a vast locale, but it's starting to become overdone in video games in my opinion, with stuff like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and Grand Theft Auto 5 and true crime being in Los Angeles. The hacking culture is supposedly going to be a bit more robust in this outing, but a lot of internet slang will be used. This could start getting very annoying if we start getting words like noob or hacksaw all mixed up in the vocabulary. They need to focus more on a stronger story and stronger characterization than to just appeal to a certain demographic. The team took more criticism of Watch Dogs 1 into account more than ever before, which is a great thing to see. If you fail at something or you just don't get something right the first time, you're supposed to look at all the various solutions to make your next attempt even better. I can't fault the devs here for doing what a normal human being should do to improve after holding such a loss. The hacking mechanics have been expanded on to points where you can remotely control cars, multiple phones as a distraction, overloading cars to be inoperable, and using various drones in recon missions. Ubisoft said there's always various ways to approach missions with the three sets of going about it: guns blazing, hacking, and sheer stealth. There has to be a degree of entertainment though, so with all these points in mind, I hope the fundamentals are enough to carry you through start to finish. The vehicle handling was a major issue in the original Watch Dogs, so I'm glad to see Ubisoft is addressing this in Watch Dogs 2 based on all our feedback. The 3D printed guns, however, probably won't be a bad thing if there's a layer of customizing involved, and if the melee looks particularly like it does in a trailer, it looks a bit odd to me. I hope the cue ball style weapon isn't the only thing you can hit people with though. The movements and animations just looks done for the sake of being flashy, and more weapon variety will always beat just that one cool add-on. GTA had knives, bats, brass knuckles, broken glass bottles, stuff like that can add more variety to the attacks. Watch Dogs 2 is also no stranger to multiple editions, collector's editions, and DLC after the reveal, but One thing you'll probably care about the most to a big extent as a gamer is the extra mission that you get called the Zodiac Killer. This will add probably more to the core game itself and core gameplay. So all the additions that were listed will now be displayed on screen for you guys to check out. Watch Dogs 2 seems to be ambitious, and I do expect a delay or two before the game gets too big for its britches. However, it will release on November the 15th, 2016 as it stands now, and my overall feelings is that I'm cautiously optimistic. While Ubisoft is going in, doing a solid and listening to the fans that gives feedback for the first game, it's hard to trust them considering that as a consumer, I got shafted with Watch Dogs 1 and that's my experience, and it still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Here's hoping that the second game lives up to its potential. Oh, and there's co-op multiplayer. That's always nice. That's always nice to see. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this gaming news update and the format applied. This is Renegade Operative and I am out. Peace.